You're watching TimesXP. I am Driti Atri, and here are the biggest stories that are making headlines across the globe today. So let's start with it. Hamas rejects Trump's new Gaza peace plan. Hamas calls the US-backed proposal a direct threat to Palestinian sovereignty. Al-Qassam Brigade says that no foreign force will govern Gaza. The group vows political and military resistance. Muslim nations back the US Gaza blueprint here. Beat Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Turkey all show rare unity now. They want stability, reconstruction, and an end to chaos. But this puts them on a collision course with Hamas. ISF deployment sparks regional tensions here. Trump's plan places an international stabilization force inside Gaza. It would oversee security and reconstruction. In the meantime, Hamas views it as a foreign occupation with the new label. Israel ordered to pull beyond the red line. The blueprint requires Israeli troops to withdraw. A temporary Palestinian authorities. It will replace Hamas. Israel is cautiously very supportive, but they also wary of rapid changes. UN Security Council prepares for a crucial vote. Global powers are divided behind the closed doors. In the meantime, Washington wants a quick approval to pressure Hamas. But opposition from Russia or China, they could derail the entire plan. New fears of renewed fighting inside Gaza. Hamas signals potential armed resistance. In the meantime, analysts warn the ISF could become a combat target. A ceasefire may collapse before it begins. Iran seizes the US-linked tanker near Hormuz. That's right. The IRGC stormed the MV Thalara in international waters. Washington labels it illegal hijacking. In the meantime, Tehran insists that it was enforcing a court order. US warns Iran of absolute force. Pentagon says that any attack on shipping will trigger retaliation. Warships and air assets, they are moving into the positions now. Hormuz is becoming the most dangerous hotspot of 2025. Global oil prices spike overnight, with 20% of world energy passing through Hormuz. Markets, they react fast. Insurance rates for the vessels, they have surged. A single miscalculation could trigger a global supply chain crisis. Israel puts Navy on high alert. Israeli link vessels, they are rerouting away from Iran's patrol zones. Officials fear that Iran may target ships in retaliation. The IDF intelligence is monitoring every single tanker movement. Trump and Khamenei enter a new standoff now. Washington and Tehran trade open threat. Diplomacy is dying as both the sides escalate. In fact, the analysts warn of a pre-war atmosphere. CENTCOM slams Iran's act of piracy. That's right. US military releases dramatic video evidence also. They call it a threat to global commerce. In the meantime, allied navies, they prepare for joint patrol. Russia's Su-57 stunts the Dubai show. Sergei Bogdan, he performs extreme maneuvers in the jet. It's the Su-57's first ever Middle East appearances, and in the meantime, crowds witness Russia's stealth mission up close. Su-57 seen over Ukraine in new formations. Western analysts report multiple jets flying coordinated missions. Basically, a major shift from Russia's earlier question. But the fleet size remains very limited. Russia seeks arms deals with Gaza state. The Dubai showcase is kind of part of Moscow's strategy here. They want to break into Middle Eastern defense markets, and in the meantime, Su-57 becomes the centerpiece of Russia's pitch. Trump confirms F-35 sail to Saudi Arabia, a historic break from decades of US policy. Israel loses its monopoly on America's most advanced fighter jets. In the meantime, regional military balance shift overnight. Israel worried about losing air superiority here. The F-35 has been the IDF's secret weapon. Now if Riyadh gets it, Israel's edge shrinks dramatically here. Defense officials are already re-evaluating the strategies now. Trump pushes the US-Saudi nuclear pact. MBS wants nuclear energy and US protection guarantees. In the meantime, Trump is willing, under strict control, But Israel fears that this could fuel a regional nuclear race. Saudi normalization may depend on Palestinians. That's right. Riyadh demands progress towards a Palestinian state now. Netanyahu resists the major concession. In the meantime, the standoff complicates the every US-Saudi agreement. India defies the US tariff on Russian oil. Despite the pressure, New Delhi increases purchase by 11%. Over 80% of India's October import were Russian crude. And in the meantime, Washington sanctioned, they failed to shift India's position. Private and state refineries boost Russian intake here. Indian plants near the full capacity on cheap Russian oil. Even as exports fall, import rises are really high. Well, energy security overweighs Western pressure. US-India tensions quietly rise. Trump warns India about over-reliance on adversaries. New Delhi stands firm, insisting on strategic autonomy here. Relationships are entering a new phase of friction. Trump threatens military strike on Mexico. That's right. He claims that he'd be proud to hit cartel labs across the borders. Mexico calls it a violation of sovereignty. In fact, diplomats they scramble as the comments goes viral. Colombia condemns Trump's statement. Bogota warns such strikes could actually destabilize the entire Latin America. Security experts call it reckless. Public opinion in the region, it turns sharply anti-US. US intelligence has cartel coordinates. Trump says Washington already knows exact locations here. Targets include drug labs and trafficking networks. Well, analysts fear that these comments could trigger the real-world violence. Trump's fast food remark goes global. He calls McDonald's a symbol of world peace. The line goes viral across social media now. Critics mock him, but supporters celebrate the humor. More tartar sauce, please. That's Trump's viral punchline. Well, he jokes that he's the first McDonald's cook to become the president. Crowds erupt, clips circulate worldwide, a light moment in a very tense geopolitical week. Middle East awaits Trump MBS nuclear deal here. November 18th meeting could reshape the entire region right now. Saudi Arabia demands major concessions. Israel fears the dawn of the new power structure. Hormuz crisis sparks emergency global meeting here. G7 foreign ministers hold urgent virtual discussions. Asian economies fear shipping disruptions and energy ministries activate their plans. A new Middle East is emerging, that's what analysts warn. Trump's policies, Iran conflict, Saudi ascent, and Russian maneuver all collide in a single explosive moment. The world enters a new era of uncertainty and competition as well. And with that, that's a wrap up of our 30 news bulletins from around the globe, from Gaza to Israel, from the US to Iran. The world is changing and so is geopolitics, and TimesXP is here to give you all the latest updates about the news that matters the most. I'm Driti Atri, keeping you posted.